a Thursday night edition of the Buddy Martin Show, also known as Orange and Blue Bloods Night. I am Buddy Martin. I'm with you tonight, along with three of my colleagues. We have lots of news to talk about. How about the Gator softball team opening up with a run rule of Oklahoma? Wow, 8-0, big win. And tonight, how do you say goodbye to an old friend after 34 years? Mary Wise, the venerable volleyball coach, been there for 34 years, announced today this will be your last season. We'll talk about that. Also, let's have a little more discussion about the situation with the coaching staff. Looks like Urban. I got Urban Klozar on my mind tonight. I'm going to talk about him in a minute. This team is this coaching staff is changing. More hires. Billy seems like he's got almost an unlimited budget. I have no problem with him being the offensive coordinator. You may think differently. Many of you do. But stay tuned. Coming up in just a moment, Ben Troop will join us. And then Franz Beard will join us on the program. We'll talk about Mary Wise and all that is Gator right here on the Buddy Martin Show. Tell your friends and neighbors to come along and join us on the Buddy Martin Show, where we talk all things Gators, particularly football, SEC, and what have you. Not so much about NIL and things of that nature. Kind of tired of that. Stand by. Buddy Martin Show is now on the air.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind, because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye!
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Evening and welcome to the show. I'm Buddy Martin. To get right to it, we got lots of news tonight. Softball team getting off to a rousing start. New coaches on the staff. And how do you say goodbye to a coach after 34 years? We'll get Franz Beard to tell us about that. First, let's go all the way up to Savannah, Georgia, and our buddy Ben Troop. What's up, Troopsy?
What's up, buddy, man? Oh, man, when I heard the news about Coach Mary Wise, I mean, obviously, you know, you think about a person, legacy, what she meant, not just to Florida, but to the sport of volleyball. I mean, that's legend. I mean, Coach Wise, 34 years of excellence, 34 years of, consistent production. And, you know, but it's one of those things. Everybody, you know, I think one of the greatest things about any career is deciding when it ends. Because most of the time, either the sport or the industry will retire you. Either they'll move on, or sometimes it just doesn't. You don't get to finish at the place you started. But I mean, what can't you say about Coach Mary Wise? I mean, to the young ladies who, I remember when I was there, and Benavia Jenkins and Nicole McCray and Audi Cruz, and the list goes on and on. They used to talk about how she demanded the same way she coaches in the games, how she coached in practice. Like, she demanded the best from you. And, you know, when you see that she's retiring after 34 years, number one, you know, everybody's going to talk about, Coach Mary Wise, man, she was almost there. I said, look, I don't think that national championships define a coach. I think that to those coaches, no matter what sport, that have won national championships, it's the rarest of the rare. I mean, it's the rarest thing in college athletics. But there isn't a volleyball, there isn't a women's there isn't a volleyball coach out there, male or female, who don't know who Coach Wise is and what she meant to the game. So I don't want to make this a gender thing. Coach Wise when people start talking about why it's so hard to coach at Florida, people go, hey man, why don't Florida got a men's volleyball team? They couldn't live up to that. They couldn't deal with that.
Well, Title IX took care of that anyways.
But I will say this. Coach Wise never had a chance to meet her in person, speak to her in person, but that's royalty. That's volleyball royalty. And whoever's going to be her successor is probably going to be from within, and she's probably going to give a high recommendation to someone from within. Go enjoy retirement. I mean, so many players, so many All-Americans, so many wins, so many SEC championships, so many, postseason success. What can't you say about it? And like I say, buddy, when we get to talking about the University of Florida and the prestige of these coaches, from Coach Spurrier, Billy Donovan and Urban Meyer, Coach Wise, she's in that room with all of them saying, because I remember when I was at Florida, how much the volleyball players used to talk trash to us. They'd be like, why everybody always go crazy over y'all? We win the SEC like every year, every other year. But no, I salute her, and I think, buddy, like I said, she's been around. Look, what she's been around 34 years. I don't even know, was she pre Jeremy Foley?
Well,
was she before Jeremy Foley was in?
I have to get this from France. He knows better than I do. I'll be honest, I didn't follow volleyball that close back in those days. But 34 years would put her at what, 1990 or 91? That's when Spurrier came in.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
So I don't know the exact timeline, but we'll get that from France. I thought it'd be good for us to brush up on our Mary Wise tonight and talk a little bit about that. Many other things to talk about tonight, including that softball win over Oklahoma. She first made the headlines and instant impact from the start of her coaching career. She was hired as a 21-year-old coach at Iowa State in 1981, right? Now listen to this. She led the Gators to 8 Final Fours, 2 national runner-up finishes, and a record 25 Southeastern Conference championships. Repeat that. 25 Southeastern Conference championships. Wise's teams were consistently excellent, like for 34 years, the third longest streak in Division I history. And she wrote a goodbye to Gator Nation tonight. She said, Gator Nation, has been an honor to serve you as head volleyball coach the last 34 seasons. I look back on my career with such gratitude for the assistant coaches, staff members, administrators, especially incredible women who said yes to becoming a Gator. This is a special place. There was never going to be an easy time to walk away, but after 43 years in the arena, the time to step away is now. College volleyball has risen to a whole nother level of participation in tennis and TV exposure. I cannot wait to see what's next for the sport and a view from my new seat. The Gator fans that helped elevate our program with their support, the Gainesville community, and help Mark and me raise our sons, and to the entire Gator Nation that allowed me to represent the orange and blue. Thank you, Mary Wise. By the way, Mark's pretty good announcer too. So let me just go over a couple of things. When she started out as a trailblazer, all the things that happened, she said she had to think about this decision to step down. So after the winter break with the spring recruiting cycle approaching, she reflected on the perspective regarding the work ahead, concluded it was a suitable time. Quote, it was something I refused to think about for, she said. I wouldn't let myself go there. I wanted to be all in, and I allowed myself to do that. Normally over the semester break, I get to recharge my batteries, but I found out the old batteries just don't charge as easily. That's what I thought. Do I have it in me? I didn't think that it was fair to the program if I didn't. And more importantly, it wasn't fair to the players, that I kept seeing through this whole thing, and why it was such a hard decision. So she, of course, is a titan of the business, volleyball, one of the greatest ambassadors and winningest coaches. Check out these numbers, by the way. This is from Florida put out today. Wise says 1,068 career wins, 1,068, fourth most in NCAA division history, all-time winningest female coach in Division One, sharing 987 of those victories at Florida after being named Florida's head coach March 25th, 1991. There it is. That's the day. After 5 seasons in Kentucky. So congratulations to Coach Wise. She'll coach this year. She'll be done. So what a amazing career. And I wish I'd have paid more attention to her. I didn't even know she had 25.
I'm ready. I mean, 34 seasons, 25 times I won the regular season, 13-time SEC Coach of the Year, 1,068 and 1,068 wins, 213 losses, fourth most, all time winning. Look, I think sometimes at the University of Florida, it takes a coach like Coach Wise calling it quits for us to really realize, because we have grown to just understand how great she was. Oh yeah, that's Coach Wise. But we don't realize until they stop, buddy. You say, dude, like Coach Wise was it. Because so when you start talking about the best coaches ever come through Florida, that's always going to be debatable. Because people go, who's the best one to come through here? They gonna always say, well, what sport or what era? Look, you can't. When I think about excellence at the University of Florida, the first name pops out is Coach Spurrier. He's the first name pops out. But then but here come Urban Meyer. Then Billy Napier. They talking about what Coach Walton is doing right now. You cannot coach better than Coach Holloway. It is not possible. But what Coach Wise has done, Coach Wise said, look, I got here the same time Spurrier did. I got here. Coach Spurrier got here in 90. I got here in 91.
Yeah.
Right? I just stopped. 34 years later. And here's the thing, buddy. She ain't walking away with Florida, with Florida, just going in the wrong direction. They still trending upward. And I know those young ladies who are current Gators right now, who they can't even fathom going to the old dome. Coach Wise ain't over there coaching them girls up. Like I said, I mean, she is sports royalty. She walks in any sports arena to any coaching clinic. And that's Coach Mary Wise right there. That's the head coach of the University of Florida women's volleyball team. I mean, to coach somewhere 10 years is incredible. To coach somewhere 20 years is out of this world. 34 years? And you got to walk away. And she said, look, Scott Strickland didn't tell me my time is up. I told him, look, at a certain point, what else can you do? I think the greatest thing of a coach, I can't speak for coaching, but as a former player is deciding when. Because the game going to retire us all. I don't care what it is. But when someone says, hey, Coach Wise, you still got it in you? I still got it in me. But it's a long time since 1991. I mean, and obviously you talking about pre-internet, pre-social media, pre-everything, and she's still surviving. So may she enjoy her retirement. I'm pretty sure she's gonna still be at the game. Sometimes she might forget she ain't on the sideline no more, jumping up out of her seat. But Coach Wise, congratulations. Enjoy retirement. Going over to the Spurriers. I'm pretty sure Coach Spurrier gonna probably Coach Spurrier name a dish after Coach Mary Wise. Call it the Legend series or something. Because that is what she is. She's a full-blown legend.
Side out. Here's a guy who knew her pretty well and knows her and has followed her. And he's an old guy like me, been around. He's kept up with friends. Were you surprised at the news about Mary White stepping down?
Yes and no. She's been head coach now for 35 years. And I think Mary just felt it was time for somebody younger to come in and take over. Other than a national championship, she's done everything you could possibly do in the game. There is such a thing as SEC volleyball because of Mary Wise. The league was a nothing league, a nobody league, and she came along. Steve Feinstein and Tom Collette and I used to have a radio show. We were among the first to ever have sports talk radio in Gainesville in 1991, which was her first year there. And Mary would come on anytime we needed her. She was there. She'd call in from the road, etc. And oh my gosh, she had a German girl named Goody Staub, and they all of a sudden you had what were called the Goody guys. They'd show up. Oh my gosh, she had her own full blown cheering section, and all of a sudden Florida goes from the year before 200 or 300 people showing up for volleyball to all of a sudden it's 3 and 4 and 5,000 people showing up for volleyball. Mary made it happen. And the cool thing about her, buddy, was the woman had an ego like that. I'm telling you, she deflected the criticism. She was always promoting her girls. She was always promoting her assistant coaches, you name it, but was very, very reluctant to take the credit. But believe me, she really knew how to do. I give credit to Bill Lawrenceberger on this one. He's the guy that hired her. And a lot of people.
Do I have to give Bill Lawrenceberger credit ever for anything? Because I don't want to.
Well, I don't want to either. But, what do they say? Even blind hogs find acorns every now and then. Well,
he almost lost Steve Spurrier, by the way. He tried.
Well, I know that. Thank goodness for Ben Hill Griffin, who sat in his office and said, Bill, Steve Spurrier is going to be the football coach here next year. You don't have to be the athletic director.
Bob Bryant went up to get him and make sure that he was hired. Anyway, we digress. All right, so we have a lot of things to touch bases on tonight. Basketball, of course, being one of them huge game on Saturday against Auburn. I want to ask you about another Urban. Wow, I was so impressed with the shots he knocked down. Urban Klopsar. And I want to ask
softball.
You. And softball. I mentioned earlier about the win. We'll talk about the softball win. Ben, I don't know if you saw it. Thanks to my TV provider here, I mean, I want to pull my hair out. I subscribe to ESPN, and I subscribe to ESPN Plus. I paid for it. But in this building, I have something called Wow. And they spent a half a day telling me why they couldn't make it work when I used to get it. And now I can't get some of these games. It's driving me crazy. So I couldn't get the game. I see they shut them out. Run rule them. Tell us about the softball. Did you see it, Ben?
I did not see it, but my brother, because this is a weird day removed from National Signing Day. I was blessed enough to be at my nephew's signing. Yeah, we get into it. But my brother said, Florida. He said Florida softball beat Oklahoma, and I was like, yeah. He said they haven't lost. They haven't lost in a while, but it's different. We kind of started that thing a little bit, a couple of years back. I say, hey, listen, like I say, Oklahoma thought we come over to the SEC, same old. No. Listen, SEC softball is like SEC baseball, baby. Anybody can get it on any given day. So shout out to that women's softball.
Home runs tonight too, friends. Talk about the home runs that we saw, and the power and how this team and how good this team can be. And then we're going to do a break, come back and talk about a little bit of the new coaches that Billy hired, the press conference he had yesterday, and talk about Urban Klopsar, a new favorite Gator.
Well, started out in the first inning, Falby gets on base, and then comes Corby Otis, and she hits a home run. Okay, she was an All-American last year, kind of what you might expect. Second inning, up steps Taylor Shoemaker, freshman from California, who I thought last year was the most underrated prospect in the country. Even though they finally elevated her up to like a top 20 prospect. But at the beginning of the season, she was way down there, but she is a phenomenal power hitter. She hits an absolute laser beam, a line drive into the left field power alley. She's a left-handed hitter, opposite field, line drive over the fence, 3-run homer. The Reagan Walsh, who hit 19 of them last year, hits another one. to start it off. So 3 home runs. Keegan Rothrock only gives up 2 hits. She wasn't as sharp as you might expect her to be, but she was good. First outing and it's February. The good thing I can tell you about her is people don't realize, as good as she was last year, she had a very bad health situation with her legs, and she could not get the kind of velocity and push that she used to get last year because of that. She's probably about 60 or 70% better this year. She's going to be better later on. She's getting stronger. She's getting her strength back, but she's going to be absolutely beastly in the circle. They got Ava Brown coming back, picked up an all CAA pitcher from UNC Wilmington. Red Oxley, the number 1 high school pitcher in the state of Florida, also is with them. This team is so loaded that I'd say they've got 5 players on the bench who would start at any other team except Florida, Oklahoma, and Texas, maybe in the entire country, not just the SEC.
They're excited about it. Tim Walton thinks he's got a championship caliber team. So Oklahoma is that team you got to get past. Let me do this commercial. We come back, Ben. I want you to assess for me, you and friends, the hires that Billy made. It was the signing that he had. Not too much to report there, although they got a 4-star from Tennessee. The flip, let's talk about these new guys. We keep seeing these new coaches show up, and I think somebody said today, so he's got 3 new defensive coordinators and no offensive coordinator. Whatever. I don't have a problem with that. Stand by while I do this spot. Tell folks about our good friends at Meldon Law. Meldon Law, which, of course, as you know, is a big supporter of this program. They are the official law firm, injury law firm of the University of Florida. Jeffrey is the ultimate Gator fan. He's supporting everybody. He all goes to the games. He's got free tickets, by the way. Go to Meldon Law on Facebook and grab you some. He gives away tickets to softball and to basketball and even gymnastics, which is very hard to get. So Meldon Law is a close, good partner, been good to our program, supporting us all these years. Meldon Law is proud to announce soon they'll have an additional Meldon working on the staff. They'll be able to announce that soon. And, of course, they have 4 locations to serve you: Gainesville, Ocala, Wilson, and Lake City. Meldon Law, they won't back down. All right, guys, who are these coaches that got hired? Who wants to go first? Got 2 new guys. I don't know. I mean, these coaches seem to come out of nowhere. Let me get this called up. I got them all listening. He seems like, and he says you might add more, by the way.
Well, you can have unlimited coaching staffs now, which is going to help the big schools. It's going to hurt the smaller schools because they're going to lose quality people. A coach that might be a really good coach who makes $125,000 at a place like Northeast at Louisiana Monroe. Somebody will pay him $200,000 and he'll be like the 15th man on a 15-man staff in the SEC. But he's got a foot in the door. It's going to hurt the lower level schools, but this is what we get. Vinny Sunseri, I'll start with him. He was a guy that when he played at Alabama, if you dared to cross the middle of the field, you would be very, very lucky if you didn't come off the field looking through your ear hole. Really hard hitter, and he will teach very, very, very aggressive play from our safeties, and I think that's a very, very good thing to do. He's got 2 co-defensive coordinators, but he has a defensive coordinator who is Ron Roberts already. The other guy is Robert Bela, who comes from Washington along with Sunseri, and he's going to coach the inside linebackers. And what that's going to do is that's going to make Ron Roberts a full-time coordinator. He's not going to be a position coach. He's going to be able to, okay, maybe the Gators are playing a team that goes heavy into passes to the over the middle of quick stuff to the slot guys. He's going to be able to work with the corners and the linebackers on that. He's going to be able to work with the defensive line on games when they got guys that are pure drop back passers, etc. But it's going to free him up, and I think what we saw of him, particularly in that last month, you look at what he did to Nussmeier, 6 sacks in Nussmeier. They really stuck it to Jackson Dart too, and then of course Florida State and Tulane. They just ate these guys alive. I think it's a smart move on Billy's part to get a guy to free him up so that he can focus on what he does best, which is overall planning, and take away he doesn't have to coach a position necessarily.
What do you think, Ben? You think these are good things? Are you hearing people complaining about the offensive coordinators? What's your feeling about what's your gut feeling about the coaches and stuff you got?
I mean, I like what I do like the fact that Billy Napier is taking advantage of the fact that he does have unlimited coaches. I do agree with what Fran said about Coach Ron Roberts. Whenever you just get to be an overseer of a defense, and I don't have to, that means I don't have to have a specialty with any position. I can really go out there and say, listen, fellas, I'm seeing it from a wide angle, and I can rely on my coordinators. Now, the thing about Coach Robert Bala, I remember when he was at Alabama, when he was coaching linebackers at Alabama. So I mean, he has that pedigree. Vinny Sinceri, when they hired him, I had to make sure it was the same Vinny. I'm like, I remember him when he played at Alabama. I mean, he had that Takeo Spike's neck. I mean, he was a thumper. Like, he was an enforcer back there. Mm-hmm. And I think the thing is, when you think about this defense, obviously he re-signs our D-line coach, which makes sense. You always want to bring in coaches that's been there and bring in fresh faces because you need fresh eyes. You just do. It doesn't mean there's nothing wrong with the guys that were there, but the fact that you got 2 DB coaches now, you got Coach Sinceri over there with the safeties, who you gonna get them lined up. You got Coach Will with them, with the corners. I think what Billy Napier is doing is saying, look, these guys need attention to detail coaching. Yes, they got a scheme. Coach Ron Roberts gonna put in the scheme. I need my safeties to play a certain way, not play safety. I need y'all to play a certain way. I need my corners to play a certain way. My D-line, wait, they were playing the best, dare I say, in college football the last month of the season. The way they were playing,
Chapman's a stud
as a unit, So I think that what Coach Billy Napier, I get it. I don't know what it is about play calling when it comes to head coaches. They just, the ones that do it, they won't stop. And that's college, pro, high school. but it's I just think what Billy Napier has done, he's went out there and got guys who are highly sought after, not just guys that Florida wanted. These are guys that other coaching staffs wanted, but that just shows that people are watching. I mean, listen, 352 pop up on your phone, you got to pick it up. You got to at least say hello. I mean, no matter who it is. But I do like, obviously, the running backs coach was the easiest decision to make in the world when we re-signed him. But I like what Coach Billy Napier is doing it because he's doing it his way.
That's a good point right there. I want to say this. I've said it a bunch of times this week, and fans, tell me if you think I'm right. Who do you think was calling plays last year in those last 4 games? DJ Glagwell. Who do you think was calling plays then? And why would you want to give your quarterback another person to go through to get to him when he can relay his? And by the way, as Shane always tells me, and you know this to be true, everybody has a say in the game plan. It's when you get the consensus of what did you do? Or did you do this down and distance? And you know these plays, and it's what play to call win. And so I say it's his team, it's his quarterback. He says that's what I was known for, calling plays. Give the man his team and let him call the plays. And not only that, Give me a name of somebody you'd like to have in his place. Go get me a guy who's a great play caller. I dare you to try to find somebody because there isn't anybody.
Well, here's the thing, buddy. Billy Napier's the guy that DJ Lagway trusts to call the plays.
Right.
And if your quarterback doesn't trust the play caller, then you don't have anything. If your quarterback trusts the play caller, they can do like Spurrier would do and draw it up in the dirt and say, why don't we do this? And they go out there and make it work because there was that bond between the head coach and the quarterback, and they knew how to be on the same page and how to make it all work out. So, offense hasn't been the problem for the Gators for any of the 3 years. I know people want to score more points, but if you can't get the other team off the field, you don't get a chance to score more points. And that's been the problem. And now he's addressing what the problem is.
Exactly. All right, guys, the number is out, and Las Vegas says it is 6.5. That's over under for Florida. They put all of them out, the main ones out yesterday. How do we feel at this juncture now, before we get too giddy about next season? We know it's a season Florida could be a surprise team again. Not surprised because they were people, they're no longer a well-kept secret. But how's that number strike you, Ben? Over and under, which way do you go?
I mean, I was gonna go over. I mean, for the simple fact that I think these over under predictions, they played their card too early in 2024. I mean, when you had the hardest schedule in the country, and we get it, and it lived up to it. Florida ends up going 8-5 with the, and obviously, that's with DJ Lagway starting 5 games and winning 5 games, and obviously how he finished the season. I think the thing is, I think some of these odd makers have gotten used to just saying Florida. We got to see it consistently for us to start saying they're going 7.5, 8.5, but 6.5. I mean, that's fine. I mean, if you are when I'm seeing these type of odds, buddy, and friends, it's almost like people don't watch football at all. It's almost like they go. It kind of goes back to the college football playoff back when Zach Wilson was at BYU. They go up to Coastal Carolina, lose, and they don't even move. They don't go up or down in the rankings. That just let me know. These odd makers, man, listen, man, they out having coffee when they ain't watching all these games.
Well, the public gets to dictate that by what they bet, as you know.
I mean, that's fine. Listen. That I will say this. One of my real good friends, Christian Gokel. We used to work on the radio. There is not a bigger Georgia fan than Christian. I ain't talked to Christian in a while and got a chance to talk to him. Like a couple of days ago. And before I could say anything, he was like, man, if DJ Lagway plays against us, y'all beat us. He said that quarterback y'all had out there, he looked like me. And y'all was still tied 20-20. And it's not the crazy part that no one really talks about. It's 20-20 with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. But anyway, I digress. 6.5, that's fine. But if you know this Florida team, everybody's gonna talk about, DJ and the weapons. When you look at what we bringing back on the defensive line, when you look at what we bringing back on the running back position, when you look at what we bringing back on the offensive line, we got the best center in the country. Period. I don't want
he really has.
I just think that the strength of our team, if the strength of your team is the D line and the offensive line, which I think for Florida it will be, that means that DJ gonna be upright. That means that the running game gonna be solid. That means that the receivers gonna find a way. They're gonna be arguing over who get the deep ball this year. Because he's gonna throw it, and I just think that with the addition of a Robert Ballard, the addition of a Vinny Sinceri, and the pickup where he left off Coach Will last year, I'll take the 6. I'll take way over the 6.5. But hey, 2024, I ain't worried about 2025. Let's do it. Let's prove it.
All right, France 6.5.
I think the Gators do better than that, but the reason they're giving it at 6.5 has to do with this. Game 3 at LSU in Baton Rouge. Game 4, Miami in Coral Gables. Game 5, Texas in the Swamp. Game 6, Texas A&M in College Station. Then you get Mississippi State. Thank goodness for that. Everybody needs a homecoming opponent. And then comes Georgia. Then you get Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Florida State. that's another brutal schedule, and that's what they're looking at. But I look at it like this: if he can win 8 after being predicted at 4.5, then he can certainly beat 6.5, and I think he will.
Yeah, I think so. All right, we're going to take a little break, come back, and we're going to talk about hoops. And I want to talk about another Urban. That was a game that was closer than you realize. Those 2 3-pointers by Urban Klopsar, that really turned it around. So we'll talk about that. And the big game is now 4:00 against Saturday Eastern Time in Auburn. Can Florida beat the number 1 ranked Auburn Tigers? Well, they're starting to talk about it on the internet. Where else? Meanwhile, let me tell you about Titan MRI and Imaging. They acquired Highfield MRI. Joe Coloria started Highfield MRI in 1997. Now he's back. And of course, you know the story about what Titan MRI does. They've been a provider of all things MRI, CAT scans, etc., for quite some time now. They also can take your insurance. They want you to have a good experience when you go up there. There's several locations to serve you now. You can go up to Lake City. You go to Gainesville. The 3 now locations there to serve you. And soon to have one in Ocala. And Titan MRI, one now called Titan MRI and Imaging, want you to have a good experience in that. So check them out. If you need any kind of CAT scan or any kind of MRI, do what Ben Troop and friends and I do. When we're big guys, we don't want to get one of those cages too small. Go up there and tell them, by the way, if you want to make a nighttime appointment, they'll do that for you for sure. So check them out. Titan MRI and Imaging. All right, guys, friends, who is this guy? You've been telling me about this guy, Urban. I kept thinking, well, Urban Meyer don't play basketball. You've been telling me about him for months and months and months. And if he gets out, I'm thinking, who is that guy? Some European that we'll never see on the court. And, I lost track of him. And all of a sudden, the other night, with the game on the line and Vanderbilt kind of having their way, and Florida couldn't pull away. And, of course, we know they had the injury. Florida had the injuries to their key players, too. All of a sudden, this number 7, boom, he makes a 3-point shot. I mean, nothing but net. And that was bad enough or good enough. Turn around, they throw him a pass to the end of the court, and he gets an uncontested 3. 6 points from a guy that you hardly knew was on the court. Who is this guy, friends?
Well, he's from Slovenia, and he was Todd was hot on his trail, dating back to a couple years ago. He's at the Euros under 19 this year. He just lit it up, and everybody suddenly wanted him. But give Todd credit. He was on this guy before anybody else, and there was no question he was going to be a Gator. He's a very clever passer. He could be the point guard. Denzel will be the point guard next year, but he's the point guard of the future of this team. He's a very clever passer, but oh my gosh, if he gets his feet set, you might as well count it. It's going in.
I mean, that's a pure shot right there.
He's got as pure a shot as we've had since that Lee Humphrey guy. Who was
That's what I was going to say.
He was a pretty good shooter in his day. But he's, did you see the way the team reacted when he hit those 2?
I did.
They see him hit these shots every day in practice.
Yeah, and they see him all the time.
And let me throw this in there because a lot of people, it goes unnoticed. Sam Alexis had the best 4 minutes of his life in that game as well.
Sam Alexis. He's an underrated player.
He hits a 3-pointer. He blocks a shot. He gets the assist on Urban Klopsar's first shot. Then after that, he picks up a critical rebound. I mean, he had a tremendous shot. And then you throw in the fact that Will Richard just went into a shooter's coma. And
but he was having a bad coma before he did that because he couldn't didn't score any points for the first half. And
he had 5 points in the first half, but in the second half, he was on absolute radar lock.
He refused to come out of the game when asked. He would not.
Yeah. Yeah. And give Todd credit for this. Todd, this is a good sign of a coach that knows and understands his guys. When a coach will sit there, it's kind of like he'll ask a guy who's got 3 fouls in the first half or 2 fouls in the first half. I know you got 2 fouls. Can you play foul free? And the guy will say, put me in, coach. Or they'll say, I just picked up my second one. I'm fine. I'll handle it. Good coaches trust their guys, and Todd Golden trusts his guys.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great sign for the Gators.
Yeah, Ben, I heard the Auburn people say they have difficulty with height and good rebounding teams. Well, that's the Florida playbook. Are they going to have a chance to go in that arena there? And then we'll get the evening to Lauren and get his talk. Ben, what do you think? You think they got a shot against Auburn?
Of course, absolutely. I mean, Bruce Pearl and company ain't gonna make it easy. But I think the thing about Florida is, I think that they're proven to be a very scrappy bunch. I mean, when you can win ugly basketball, that's what I like about college basketball. Yes, you want everything to be firing on all cylinders, but I think Florida can beat you in any kind. They can get up and down the floor. Obviously, they can shoot the three. Obviously, they can rebound. And hopefully Will Richard won't look the way he looked against Vandy, but it happens, right? And I think the thing about basketball is it's the greatest game, but you can pick your teammates up. I mean, Urban, yeah, he had them 2 big threes, but that's what basketball is about. It's can I come up clutch when needed. I mean, I get it. Shoot to your hot, shoot to your cold. This SEC basketball, top to bottom, is what give you headaches. I mean, good Lord. I mean, these guys, is it the SEC or the ACC? The way these guys are playing right now, but I think Florida got a shot anytime they step on the court, and that's against whomever it is. I just think that, Auburn is going to be a tough out no matter where, but you got them on the road. We'll see what happens. Bruce Pearl will come. Like I say, Bruce Pearl, regular season, oh, my God, world beaters. Postseason, well, talk about that another day, but we'll see. But it should be a good one. All
right. Lauren, what do you think? Saturday and on the Plains, the Gators are going to show up and knock off this number 1 team?
They definitely got a shot. I agree. But the way the SEC is, man, it's just tough to go into somebody else's barn and get a win. I mean, it's unbelievable, man. I mean, and, as hard as teams have come into the O'Connell Center and played hard and gave it a go, I mean, it's just tough. So, I mean, the way Auburn's playing right now, undefeated in conference play, I mean, big, strong, physical. When I was there in Auburn, I mean, they got a couple guards, man. They could start at free safety for Auburn. I mean, they look good. It's gonna be a nice game, a nice precursor to the second half of the season and what we could see in March Madness. But the one thing that Florida has is, they handled this bunch pretty well last season here in Gainesville. Obviously lost in the SEC championship game in the tournament, but definitely won't be afraid of the moment. Obviously there was no Elijah Martin last year, so I think that's an addition, a key addition, and the bigs are playing better than they were last season, so it's going to be a toss-up. I mean, you got anytime 2 top 5 teams, I mean, top 10 type teams, yeah, I mean, it's definitely but it's going to be a great matchup. It's going to be interesting to see because Florida leans on you on the glass, and it'll be interesting to see what the rebounding numbers look like at the end of the day in this basketball game. I think that's going to be huge.
France, the bench is pretty strong. I know you like a lot of players there. They're going to play 8 or 9 players all there. Talk about their ability to interchange players, guys coming off the bench. We already mentioned some of them. Talk about some of the guys that we have not talked about much and what makes them as strong as they are with that bench.
Sam Alexis is going for Florida to win up at Auburn. Sam Alexis is going to have to play well, not good, well. I mean, he can't just have an average game. He's got to be I'd say he's got to be a 6 and 6 guy, 6.6 rebounds. Ruben Chinyalu, has got to stay out of foul trouble, and that's going to be very, very hard for him because Janai Broom will take you outside and then put the ball on the deck. And if you cross your legs or you get your foot caught in the floor, you got a problem. The other thing I will say is this: Urban Klavjar is going to play in this game. He's going to be in that rotation. He's going to give Florida that extra shooter that they're going to need in this game to win up there. I think that I don't see this game being a game in the 60s or even the 70s. I think it's going to be in the 80s or 90s to win. Here's the other thing that's going to be the big factor. If Joe Lindsay's on the whistle, we lose, period. You can count on that. You know, it's funny because they're up there last week in Knoxville, and I looked at their 30 minutes before the game, and I saw Joe Lindsay's on the whistle. And I sent Denver Parlor, the SID, a text. I said, Joe Lindsay's on the whistle. We are screwed. And he agreed with me. Some officials, you know, back in the day when Pat Adams, when Billy Donovan was here, and we got Pat Adams, those two there was a clash of personalities. They didn't do well. There was a guy named Mike Nance who was in the SEC for years. And you loved Mike on the road. You hated him at home because when he's at home, if you get him at home, he's going to spend his whole game trying to prove he's not a homer.
Yeah.
If you're on the road, you'll pick up 2 or 3 calls that you didn't have to have. But a lot of this is going to be determined by who calls the game. Yeah, I hope we get like Doug Sermons or Ted Valentine or Doug Schaus. If we get one of those 3, it'll be a well-officiated game. That's going to be critical.
All right, Walter Clayton, what's his physical status? I thought he might have played to help him out. Could he have played, and will he go up at 100% in Auburn?
He could have played. They just didn't want to risk it. They felt they could win with what they had against Vanderbilt. For one thing, the game was at home, and the guys did step up. On the road, you're going to have him. Goodness, guys, I play. You know, Ben, you played. Ben and Lauren, you guys played college football. You play. You know, playing with sprained ankles. You know, you probably spend the last half of your year playing on at least one of them. Sometimes you're playing on both of them, and it's the same thing in college basketball. You play on sprained ankles. As long as it's not a high ankle sprain that might have to require something like tightrope surgery or something like that, you're usually pretty darn good with a little bit of rest. So, you know, this will be a week. He'll be fine.
All right, thanks. I'm gonna give this one to Lauren and Ben. It's a good question from Danny G. Should Aberdeen start at point guard and move Clayton to the 2 guard and bring Martin in off of the bench? It's a good question.
That's a negative. No way, no how. No, I mean, I don't think. I guess he's referring to maybe Elijah Martin's kind of been in a shooting slump.
He has been in a shooting.
Yeah, but his ability to affect the game in so many, he steadies them. And Franz, you correct me if I'm wrong, but he steadies them defensively. You know, he's a bulldog on the ball. He can basically defend 1 through 4, essentially. He played the 4 at Florida Atlantic. I mean, I like what they do. I think Aberdeen, you know, I mean, they play their 3 guards. The 3 guards they have are as good as any 3 in the country. No, I mean, Martin needs to play the lion's share, and you know, a guy that's in his last year, you ride with him because, like I said, he's going to give you so much on the other end of the floor. No, he steadies. Absolutely. I mean, I don't even think that's a
No.
question. I think, I don't think that's been discussed at all. I mean, Aberdeen
needs playing time, though.
Well, he does, but he plays big boy minutes.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
The fact is that when they needed him, they went to him and he was there.
Sure.
And he gets the ball to he passes okay.
Mm-hmm.
He goes hard to the bucket. He plays
Right.
good defense. He's a good rebounder. He's a good player.
Right.
He's starting, friends, as you said, on most teams.
But the question, but you asked me if he should
I know,
start
I
over
asked
Martin.
that question. That was-
Yeah, I mean, no, the rotation is good where it's at, in my
All
opinion.
right, Ben, I want to give you a chance. Do you think it's good like it is, or you'd like to see more of Aberdeen or less of Aberdeen? What?
I mean, yeah, I always like to see more of Aberdeen, but I mean, time and place is everything. When you try to start switching up the lineup now, I mean, Aberdeen. If that were the case, Golden said Aberdeen, I want you. He gonna be like, what's up with a line? He gonna ask him that. I think the thing about basketball is this: yes, we know what we're looking at, but roles are established well before the game starts. We know how this thing is supposed to go, and basketball is the ultimate game of rhythm. Martin gets you in the rhythm, and he keeps you in that rhythm. And when you talk about affecting the other side of the court, that's what makes, to me, Martin who he is. Like, we start talking, everybody wants to score. Surprise, surprise. Can you get a stop? And the thing is, if Aberdeen was to get in, can he affect the floor like Martin does? No. He's a good player now. And the thing about Clayton, I mean, look, the whole thing about the ankles, look, you play basketball. Talking about ankles in basketball is talking about your toes as a ballerina. They both gonna hurt. That's what you think you do. I mean, you better. You think you're too good for that Ben Gay and that icy hot. You that's who you need to get an NIL with. That way you can make sure you out there. Because when you and Laura can speak to this. You really think you're going to, man? Why aren't you playing, man? I got an ankle sprain. My daughter played basketball. She sprained her ankle tonight. I told her, girl, you better walk on it. You better walk on it. Listen.
Walk it off.
Keep walking on it. No, you walking on it so it can't get tight on you. Listen, get real good with that good steam on that thing. Put some that good ice on it. There is no way. Listen, as we get closer to March, all these games matter. I wish Clayton though. I mean, I'm not pressuring him to do anything. But his teammates gonna be like, dude, it better be high ankle sprains aren't even injuries. Those are nicks. Everybody has them. He'll be out there. Aberdeen, I love you, but no. If Aberdeen runs out there in the starting lineup, even Danny G gonna be like, what the hell going on? Exactly. What's going on?
Here, I'll give you two numbers: 38 and 9. Okay, in 20 minutes a game, playing in every ball game, Denzel Aberdeen has 9 steals. In 30 minutes a game, playing in every game, Elijah Martin has 38 steals. Okay, that is huge. But here's another number, since we're talking about numbers: 58 and 35 assists. 38 assists for Elijah Martin. As Lauren was pointing out, this guy's got his hand in every cookie jar you got. And this doesn't count the number of deflections he gets. This doesn't count the number of times he fights over a screen, gets a hand up and forces a bad shot, etc. like this. This guy is an elite, and when I mean elite defender, who right now I would say he's one of the top 2 guys, 3 at the most, for SEC Defensive Player of the Year. I think he'll get the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. Neil Blackman over at Saturday Down South agrees with me on that. It says this guy is going to be the SEC Defensive Player of the Year. He does so many things. We don't have a stat for deflections. We don't have a stat for times you get up there and the ball's coming off the backboards and you tip it off somebody as it goes out of bounds and it creates an offensive possession for you. This is a guy that can do it. Shooting stats this time of the year, everybody has games when they go bad and then they come back and they do well. Will Richards squeezed off 2 shots up at Tennessee. He got 11 the other night. Did pretty good, I'd say.
All right, I'm gonna give you some numbers. Are you ready? 12.5 million. Who got that?
Ryan Day.
Ryan Day. Yeah.
Yeah.
12.5 million. This is always exactly. I thought they're going to start monitoring the coach's salaries.
Dadgum, buddy, he's making almost as much as you make.
Exactly right. All right, they just given you some money today. SEC got $808.4 million of total revenue for 23-24, ending August 31st fiscal year. Averages out to $52.5 million per school, excluding bowl revenue, etc. However, OU and Texas get a lesser amount than the $52 million, by probably half because they transitioned to the conference. So, money, a lot of money there, guys, and it's just going to go up. And I don't know if we'll ever have enough, but it seems like that's what we're all about: money. What do you think, guys? We'll go out with this one. You worried about the money thing, Ben?
No. I mean, and guess what? In Oklahoma and Texas ain't worrying about it either. They'll make up that 25 mil, especially Texas. That's a drop in the bucket. That's nothing. I mean, they'll be fine. But no, I mean, that's why college athletics, college football in particular, that's why that word amateurism is so funny. 12.5 mil for a coach that coaches amateurs. Come on, really? And I'm happy for Coach Day, by the way. Happy for him, but. Once again, I'm gonna keep. I can't remember what coach broke the $1 million barrier. He's a dinosaur now.
Spurrier broke the $1 million barrier.
They giving him $1 million now. $1 million go to what? Some coordinators might be getting all the coordinators getting a meal. They get well over a meal. Nowadays, what? I mean, what do the analysts get these days? They getting $300,000 and $400,000.
Oh yeah.
Just break down third down. I ain't mad at him.
All right. What about you, Lauren? Money.
Hey, man, free market economy. I mean, supply and demand. I mean, people watching, people loving, people showing up. I mean, the Gators sold out every game last year. I mean, the money is there to be had. You put a product out there, people investing in it. I mean, it sets. I mean, you set the market. I mean, they're paying. Things I saw, sports. Guys getting paid crazy money. The game. Yeah, I mean, I think how we bring players into this thing we call college athletics would be a lot more concerning. I know that's another discussion for another time, but that would be more of my concern as opposed to the money. I think the money is going to continue to grow. As the game continues to grow. I talked about, people underestimate. I saw the numbers. I think it was like $50 million to college football just by them putting that video game out again. I mean, it's just going to continue to grow as those things are out there. So I'm not concerned. I think it's just par for the course.
All right. So we talk about numbers. We'll go out with a number tonight, and we'll say, I got the list of the most vacated wins of all time, okay, by college football. And I'm going to give you a chance to pick the top 3 and see if you can get one. All right? Just give me one. Give me your best shot of most vacated wins of all time.
Most vacated wins of all time?
Yeah, most vacated wins. Vacated of all time. All right?
I'm going to go Florida State. Is one of them.
Florida State, okay.
Penn State got to be another one.
Penn State, France,
Alabama.
Would you believe none of you were right?
Wow.
The top 3 are: number 3 is LSU, number 2 is Ole Miss, and number 1 is LSU. Louisiana, they got Louisiana. I don't know what they mean by Louisiana.
Is that Raging Cajuns?
Must be. 22 we got for them.
This sounds like,
and then go down to the 4th team play, then Alabama, tied with Notre Dame at 21, and then North Carolina 16. But Florida State's all the way down to 8th with 12. And
that's because they came back because of Bobby. They came back and reinstated wins for Bobby because they wanted him to hit 300 wins for his career.
I don't know if it matters. Nobody ever brings it up. It doesn't ever factor in anybody's history. Why make a vacate wins? They don't count for anything, right?
No, and you don't give a win to the team. You don't make it a forfeit and give a win to the other team.
Yeah, that's good point.
I mean, Nick Saban officially was like 2-6 his first year at Alabama. Now Alabama was 7-6 that year, but they vacated all these wins because they had a big textbook scandal and everything up there at Alabama, and but which is ridiculous. I mean, look, if you want to punish people, tell them this. Okay, every game you used an ineligible player, it'll cost you $500,000 per player per game that he played.
Yeah,
that hurts. That way, you got to at least make punishment, so much that people don't want to do it.
Yeah, you're right. All right, guys, great job tonight. All of you. Good to see all of you again. Lauren, you're back. You're feeling better, hopefully.
Yeah, man. Ooh, that West Virginia flu. That's something different.
Yeah.
Get this stuff called Buckley's. You can get it on Amazon. It comes out of Canada. I started taking it. Bill Feinberg told me to get it. I started taking it, and I can already tell in 24 hours, it's already knocking this stuff out. I can talk normally. I can breathe normally. I slept an entire night. Buckley's. Great stuff.
Mucinex. Mucinex helps me a lot.
Yeah, I'm a Mucinex guy, but I think something in Mucinex is making me. Yeah, that's another story too.
I've been using Mucinex and it hadn't made a dent in this stuff. And I got the Buckley's, and for the first time, I slept an entire night last night.
And now everybody gets free medical advice.
I was gonna say medical advice with being friends and buddy.
Hey man, listen. We used to suck on that red clay. I mean, we gave it to us. We used it. It worked.
Go get you a baked possum, and
There we go.
and an armadillo on the rotisserie.
We was growing up. People say, "What you eating, man? What y'all eating over there?" My granddad would say, "Just eat it." He never told, "Just eat it." So that's what we ate. We ate it just eat it.
We'll go on that subject one night and see what you've eaten in your lifetime. All right, guys. Love you all. Got to go.
Exactly.
Thank you. Good night, Lauren. Good night, friends. Good night, Ben. All right, that wraps up the show. And we want to be sure and let you know our friends at Renstar are such supportive people, their community and this program. I can't thank them enough. Joe Sorrentino, his partner, Mary Brantley, married to Scott Brantley. They went to high school together in South Florida. They started Renstar. It's been very, very successful, highly regarded by many people in the medical business. And they are there to tell you they need you to give them an opportunity to get you in the clinical trials. Clinical trials are so important. They are. Hold on one second. Let me get where is my? Anyway, clinical trials are very, very important for us here in this community because we've got to get information. We get information about our here it is right here. Let's see. This is what you need to know about it. Go to the website, renstar.net, and see what trials they're having. And there's a coupon right there. You can click on that and find out more about getting involved in your community in the Ocala area. I think they have them in several places. When you can go and take part in it for a few weeks, you help yourself, you help Renstar, you help us, because all this data they get sent off and used in preparing prescriptions that we can use in our homes and families and treat us. So they're doing good work here for you. And please look them over at renstar.net, find out more about what they've got going on and take part. You can be compensated for time and travel. Renstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers for the health questions of today. That will wrap up tonight's program. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Thanks to our sponsors and all our guests. Have a good night. We'll see you. Have enjoyed the Gator basketball game. We'll see you soon.